Just trying to bring you some tips today on how to make yourself a better archer. And one thing we've covered before, but with very little detail, is how to shoot a wrist rocket. I personally shoot a hinge. If you can commit to a hinge, I think it's probably one of the best ways to go, but it's definitely not for everyone, and it's all depending on the type of hunting you're doing. Like a lot of my whitetail guys, like I don't see a need to be trying to activate a hinge on a downward angle. So today we're gonna talk about the release. The biggest mistake I see with these wrist rockets is guys have them so far out that when they're at anchor, they can barely even touch their trigger. And then the second thing is they hold their finger really high and they wham, and they just slam that trigger, okay? We're gonna work on today is making sure release is short enough, which usually when people start and they're like, oh, my release is too short. Well, they have it all extended and they can't reach it. So what we like to do is we like to start super short, a little bit crammed behind the trigger. A good release for this is a Spot Hogg Wise Guy. But the number one tip is to make sure release is the right length. Number two tip on the wrist rocket is make sure that your anchor point is correct. I see a lot of guys, and this is by person, okay? Like, we teach in our shop, there's a lot of people that shoot well this way, but we like to have our guys, if you take your thumb and you don't stick it out, everybody thinks we stick it out, but you just stick it down the jawline and follow it down that jawline. I tell everybody you're an L here, you're an L here, and see if you hit, it stops. So you're always in that anchor point, and basically I squeeze it right here between that thumb and the index finger. Boom, so there's my anchor. That's very important with a wrist rocket. Helps get that draw length correct. This bow is set up to be shot with a hinge, and so my draw length's gonna look a little bit weird, but I'm gonna show you how I use it. I'm in my seat. If I push forward, no matter what, I'm in my anchor point. Again, this bow is set up for a hinge, so it's gonna look a little bit different. But you see, I'm here. I'm not gonna just slam my hand down. That's what I see everybody do, and they're like, whack, and they just slam the trigger. So here that goes real quick. This is the improper way to shoot it. Finger up. So it's just like a massive slam. There's a whole lot of movement. There's nothing controlled about that shot. And so pull the arrow now, and we're gonna come back to it. I'm gonna show you to actually activate the trigger release or the wrist rocket with good back tension and good follow through. I'm gonna show you a little bit more of a controlled release, and so if you're practicing these at home, what I like to do is I like to go in front of the target and close my eyes and really focus on it. But I'm gonna show you what it looks like, and then I'm gonna go down to the target with my eyes closed and really close to the target and shoot some blind bails, which means I'm just really focusing on the follow through. Here it is with my eyes open on a normal shot. I'm gonna try to control it. So I'm gonna set my finger over, I'm gonna relax my hand around the barrel here and slowly pull through. So what happens is, as I relax my hand and I pull through, and I didn't even squeeze my trigger. I used the back tension to do it. So I'm gonna use kind of like a medium squeeze of the trigger and pulling back with my shoulder. So we're just gonna try to mix the two real quick. Again, this is eyes open. I'm gonna show you how to practice this in a second. So I'm here. I'm gonna feel my finger on the trigger and barely goes off, like I wasn't even expecting it. But let's go down and blind bail real quick, and I'm gonna show you how to just practice that to get used to that feeling and still feeling like I'm in control of my shot. I'm at point blank range. I know I'm safe, my eyes are closed, and I call it like being one with the release or one with the bow. So all I'm thinking about is this finger right here. And I'm gonna do that like shot after shot after shot after shot to get to where I trust it. And I become one with that trigger. I know it sounds cheesy, but I think that's one of the best tips out of this whole video. You're gonna kind of become one with it. You're gonna really know when it's going off with a little bit of surprise, but you're in complete control of your shot. You're just not wham, wham, wham. Really controlled. Ignore this part of my hand. I'm just showing you where we want our trigger. And watch. So my hand's loose here, so I'm gonna pull back against it. Boom. And it's gonna be a really clean, crisp release. That's how you shoot a wrist rocket, and it will work when you're hunting too. So that's what I would suggest practicing, going and blind bailing, really getting that follow through, relaxing the hand here, and having a surprise shot even with a trigger release.